everybody, and welcome to the Her Hoop Stats podcast. My name is Chelsea Late, and I am here with Tyler DeLuca. And long story short, today is the day for a love story, and you're already laughing at
brother.
me. Look, big news hit before we started recording.
Yes.
The biggest news that has broken both the regular internet and the sports internet. Tyler, lob it up for us.
Serena Sundell is on the Dallas Wings roster. The big news has hit. The agenda is back. Serena Sundell is back on a WNBA roster. If you've been a listener here on the Her Hoop Stats Network, you know it's an agenda I was pushing this offseason, and we are so incredibly back. I can't think of any other news that has hit today in the sports world.
Serena Sundell is just the lucky one, I guess.
Dude, look, it's been a cruel summer for her, like trying to get back into the league and everything. But look, sometimes you see a team that sees a player and goes, you know what? I know what Seattle said, but you belong with me. And now she's on that Dallas roster.
And Kurt Miller's just playing the mastermind up in here.
I'm ready for it.
I'm ready for it. Well, just like a message in a bottle, Tyler and I got all of the women's basketball news for you today. Welcome to the Her Hoop Stats podcast. We are going to get into basically the theme of our episode, the invisible string, mind you, will be where the WNBA standings are at, because they are just so close. If you look at the playoff picture, which we're focusing on because we'll talk about the lottery later, honestly. But the top 8 in the WNBA is so close. Other than the Minnesota Lynx just kind of being at the top.
That's the only blank space you can find in the entire standings.
Exactly.
Is between the only blank
space is in between the Lynx and the Dream. There's 6 games, but then everything else is like a half a game. And that's the moment I knew that the Lynx were just kind of at the top. And we are going to get into last night's games and the implications. We're going to get to Tuesday's games, and all of the implications. And it's nothing new that the WNBA is this close, but we're getting to a really exciting time in the standings.
I don't know if it's ever been this close. This is easily between some of the award races and now the standings, this genuinely, since I started covering the W, at least, which 5 years now, something like that. This is easily the closest, just in general, that everything has felt in every game matters so much, and the schedule kind of benefits that too. Some of the matches that we're seeing are teams that are going up against each other, which we're going to talk about. But I every night matters so much.
Yeah, nobody is out of the woods until the last day.
No.
So let's get into last night, because there were a few very interesting, we'll call them, games. Are you ready for it?
Oh, I already used that one, but I am ready for it. That Liberty game.
That Liberty game. Liberty, Connecticut Sun. Honestly, more important for the Liberty than it was for the Sun, of course, who are already eliminated. So give me your thoughts on that game as you were kind of watching the end there.
Yeah, for me, obviously, Stewie back in the lineup, Sabrina back in the lineup, no Natasha Cloud, no Izzy Harris. So not completely healthy, but you are certainly getting there if you are New York. And this was your time after this kind of rough stretch of games where you're just trying to shake it off and just try and get it. Okay, that's my last one. I'm done. I'm done. That's all I had in my repertoire. I'm tapped out.
I was gonna use that one. Okay, keep going.
That's too bad. But no, I'm it's been kind of an odd bit for the Liberty, because even when they win, when they've had these wins, I'm just not very convinced in the way that I kind of hoped I would be. And especially in that down the stretch moment for New York, where it's turnover after turnover after turnover, and Connecticut almost comes back and completely wins this game. That is not playoff series winning basketball, because this is a Connecticut team that has 9-28. They've had a lot of there's a lot to like about this Connecticut team, but this is not a Connecticut team that you should be blowing late game leads to. That's not. They haven't been in these situations to go in and do that. The fact that they choose not to foul off the assumption that you're going to turn the ball over is a problem. And partially that's where I'm okay, well, obviously Natasha Cloud helps with that, down the stretch and playing point guard and everything. But this is a championship winning team. Like
Mhm.
this, like the Liberty have been here in these situations, and to go and have to sneak out a win like that, like in those circumstances, again, like even though you pick up the win, yes, Stewie is back. Like I'm not. My confidence is not being boosted by these results. Not all wins are built the same, and these just have not been confidence building ones at all. And I was just kind of hoping to leave this game, with a double digit win. Like if I'm coming
Yep.
from a Liberty perspective, I'm like Stewie back, get her, acclimated and everything. Obviously, you're not asking the world of her from day one,
Mhm.
but in realistically, this should be a team you should be able to get back on track against in Connecticut, and
Yep.
like just the standards of being the New York Liberty, and it didn't feel like that fully happened. And so
Yeah.
while a win is great, obviously you're never going to complain about a win,
You
but
just want
not
the
all
dub.
wins are built the same in terms of
Exactly.
like momentum and things of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, you think that they're gonna bring the Connecticut Sun in, and it's gonna be like a welcome to New York moment. I had to do that one. But you have Brianna Stewart coming back, which I think the idea of bringing her back this game as opposed to later in the week, her goal was to come back before her birthday. Her birthday's tomorrow,
Mhm,
August 27th. So happy early birthday to Stewie. But I mean, she was on a 20 minutes restriction
mhm,
per Sandy Brondello. And so she played 21 minutes total. You want her to kind of get acclimated and reconditioned into the
mhm,
system before you play Phoenix at the end of the week.
mhm.
Very important game
Massive.
for like huge, massive game. And of course, like everything you said, the late game stretch, not ideal. Them almost fumbling at the end at that last possession, to giving it away to the Sun instead of, just taking the foul. They almost get a free throw or a basket on the other end.
Mhm,
Taking away all of that, just looking at Stewie's performance, her first game, coming back in a month. I mean, she looked good for someone who was on a 20-minute restriction, and the thing with Stewie is that she's always going to find a way. Like, that is just she's a winner. She's gonna find a way, and her way last night was getting to the free throw line. She's
mhm,
very good at drawing fouls. She's very good at taking her free throws. She took 13 free throws last night, made 11, and that was the bulk of her 19 points. But, yeah, I mean, ending your first game back in a month with a 19-point 5 rebound, and I think 1 block stat line
mhm,
is impressive. And I mean, this is what you came for when you come to New York, is to
mm,
beat Stewie and to, make sure that you try and take her away as a threat. And as much as she's struggling sometimes this year from, I mean, we can just say she's struggling from the 3-point line. She hasn't
mhm,
been shooting very well this season from three, but she always finds a way to be able to do that. And I think that's so important where the Liberty are in this stretch. They play Washington, I believe, next, and then they play Phoenix. And that Phoenix game is huge and is going to be a huge, huge, huge determinant of where they end up in the standings.
mhm,
And before we kind of get into the next game, which is Vegas versus Chicago, which also had playoff implications randomly.
mhm.
But you think about, so obviously we said Minnesota at the top.
Yep.
At this point, I don't think there's any chance of anybody catching up to them, just given
No.
the fact that there's less than 10 games left. But then you have, and I always go by game balance, which is how many games a team is from the top team.
Mhm,
I think that makes sense. But so Atlanta is at 6 games back from Minnesota. Vegas, and this is all as of Tuesday after last night's game. So you have Atlanta in second, 6 games behind Minnesota. Vegas in third, 6 games behind Minnesota. Phoenix and New York, fourth and fifth, both 7.5 games. So you think about that, there is a 1.5 game difference between fifth and second right now. Um, and all these four teams are both tied, like six and
mhm,
six, 7.5, 7.5. The next team is like, then you jump down from 7.5 games to 10.5 games. Like,
mhm,
of course, like the top five is so close, but then you have this other tier of 6 to 8 that is only separated by half a game, because you have 10.5, 11, and 11, and then the
mhm,
Sparks are hanging down there at 12. So, like, when we say that it's so close, like, it is half a game balance, which
mhm,
it's hard when you don't look at the standings very much to understand what half a game is, and it makes more sense as we get to the end of the season and more teams have played closer to that 44 game point, because half a game just kind of means like you haven't played as many games, or you
mhm,
haven't played every game against a certain opponent. And that's where things like schedule come into, Mark. And this is why I want to lob it to the Las Vegas Aces, because despite the fact that they currently sit in third, they were the second team to clinch a playoff spot last night. They beat the Chicago Sky, and you had more eyes on that game
Yeah.
as I was watching the Connecticut, because of course you're at the same time. Of course.
Naturally.
So yeah, like, give me your thoughts on that game. I mean, most of what I was watching in that one had to do with Candace Parker's jersey retirement. Obviously, shout out to Candace. So yeah, what were your thoughts? What was the story of us on that game?
Yeah. To me, the biggest takeaway is Asia Wilson didn't have a bad game, but it hasn't been like the nuclear performance that we've kind of grown accustomed to over the past, 2-3 weeks. How almost a month, almost of just absolute
11-game winning
ridiculous
streak.
dominance. Yeah,
11-game winning
yeah,
streak.
and so just in general, like before diving into like the specifics of the game, like you're talking
Yeah,
about a team that was in like what ninth, I think, at their lowest this season,
8th,
and they
I think.
become the second like team to clinch a playoff spot. Like, goodness gracious,
Yeah,
what a ridiculous turnaround. But to me, so Asia has uh first off, you have Angel Reese and Camilo Cardoso on the other side. You want to talk about like defensive capabilities to throw at Asia Wilson? Not many teams have better than Chicago. For all the struggles that Chicago has had this season, like it is still a pretty dang tough matchup for Asia Wilson. And to me, the biggest takeaway in this game is that somebody else showed up. And in this game, that was Jack Young, who had 22 points on 9 of 13. Also, Chelsea Gray was solid in this game too. Like those are the type of things where I'm like, when I think about my confidence in Vegas, and because it's been kind of hard to judge them because like what they were, you know what they've become, but you also know, I can't really get it out of my head of what happened last year when Asia Wilson kind of just looked burnt out by the end of the season, by the playoffs, and like if they're winning games right now, yes, and they've been on this streak, but that streak has been accompanied by incredible Asia Wilson play. And it hasn't given off the same vibe of like burnout that we reached last season.
yeah,
But games like this where she could score 18 and again, still had she still is all across the box score, but you don't need 30.
yeah,
And being able to have a game where you're not asking for her to get 30, that's the type of thing that brings me more confidence in what a potential deep playoff run could look like for Vegas.
yeah,
Because if you're able to win without her dropping like 30 and 15, which she's certainly capable of doing, obviously, and like, but you just don't want to become so reliant on that is your only win con. And just
yeah.
due to some of the inconsistency from other Aces players throughout the course of this season, that is just a worry that I have. So being able to see it in a game like this is certainly something that brings
Yeah.
me confidence personally from a Vegas perspective.
Yeah, her game was clean.
Is that a song?
It is! No,
I'm
it's
assuming
it's
I'm
actually a
assuming
really
based on
good
your
one.
nod that like I don't know that one off the top of
No,
my
it's
head.
actually one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs is
Okay.
Clean, but continue on. Yeah, Asia Wilson, yeah, of course. I think that's honestly like, not that you don't want her to be able to put up these, like, 30, 20, et
Mhm.
cetera games, but I honestly think a huge goal and a huge, like, post of how good Vegas could be in the postseason is how well you do without her doing that. Like,
Mhm.
the goal is for her to be able to score, say, like, 20 points a game
Mhm.
even, and then you still have a good win. And
Yeah.
they're on an 11-game winning streak. Like, that's
Right.
of course, most of these games have her,
Yeah, that's the thing.
but
It's not about like moving away from her by any means. It's about not
no.
being reliant. And like to me, like you used to look at this game and she still had 18 shot attempts, right? So
Yeah,
like she's still like, I mean, the closest one to her in shot attempts was Jackie at 13. So it's like it's not like they went away from her by any means. She just didn't have like the nuclear night that she has been having. Again, not a bad game, just
yep,
not what has kind of over this stretch, over this win streak, what has been kind of the standard, honestly, that she set for her own self in terms of her
exactly.
production. And so to go and be able to not only power through the misses, which again, she went 7 of 18. So it's like you've certainly seen worse shooting games, and like, but to be able to kind of power through that, go and get a win in a close game, on a big night with Candace's jersey retirement, like just like in the
Yeah,
energy in the building and whatnot, like
yeah. A lot
you're
of people were there.
you're taking that. Like that's a solid win against a team that obviously has had their own struggles in their own right. But I think the worry that I leave here with for Vegas was again sometimes the defense still scares me. Obviously Asia Wilson is a phenomenal defender. You have good defenders, and at times during this game, it's like goodness. I mean, you see Ariel Atkins drops 30 in this game, and you know the the two bigs go and do their own thing. But like, there's moments where Vegas just absolutely locks down when they need to. Like, there's
Mhm.
been like during this win streak, there's been some possessions where Vegas just gets down in their stance and plays some damn defense, and that
Mhm.
is like, I'm not you can't expect them, and I'm not expecting them to try and do that over the course of a series, of a game in its entirety. Frankly, they don't have the capability to do that, and it's not, especially not when you're asking Asia Wilson to exert the energy that she is on the offensive end as well. But when you get down in the clutch time, when you get down to those last 4 minutes of a game, if that can become a standard the rest of
Mhm.
this way, that's something I'm really eyeing. It's like how like these whether like some of like the defense against Atlanta and some of these like recent games. You had a couple last night as well. Like I've been very impressed by like certain possessions of defense, even if the overarching defense still isn't that great at for the majority of the time for Vegas. There's still times where they absolutely lock in when they need to, and are able to kind of escape with some of these wins.
Yeah, I mean, long story short, that's just the life of a showgirl for Asia
Okay, there you
Wilson.
go. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I got those ones.
you got those ones.
I got those ones.
Yeah, I mean, I had a thought. Do you know when you have a thought when you're talking and then you like forget? I just remembered it. I wanted to
I was about
mention
to say, did you like remove a basketball thought to get another Taylor Swift joke in? Like,
it's literally just like a
is that the
filing
priority
cabinet.
of our pod today?
Like,
Is the look,
no,
we
I
know where
was
the
gonna
news
say,
lies.
that was we were talking about the Candace Parker thing. I was gonna say that my guy Coco was there. Um, Coach Coco. James Wade was there. That's what his
Oh,
nickname is, Coco. But anyway,
I'm surprised he was allowed back in.
okay, people need to stop coming for him
Why?
because it's been a long time and he's really nice to me.
And that franchise is still reeling.
Yeah, but most of it now is because Jeff, what's his name, keeps trading away their picks.
It's the standard was set. No, we know we got to get down to the root cause, and it's not even James Wade that's the root cause, but
No,
that's a whole nother pod episode. But yeah,
he's my
yeah,
guy. He came up here to Toronto. Like he waves at me. It's a good time. We have
wow,
some chats.
wave those draft picks out the building.
Look. Anyways, look what you made me do. Anyways,
Mm.
let's get to tonight's games because again, like that was last night. Overdone. Las Vegas clinches their playoff spot before Atlanta, which is interesting to me, but I don't know how math works.
Dude, I measured in words. I measured in
um,
words.
so yeah, we get into tonight's games, and literally every game has implications. But
Yeah.
let's talk first about Seattle and Indiana because this is a big one. This is a
Massive.
big one,
Mhm.
massive. We talk about Seattle. They're in sixth right now, but kind of in that second tier here of they're not fighting for home court advantage right now.
We're
They're
trying for
fighting
the play.
for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, due to that skid that they had a few weeks ago, I mean, they have 3 wins in a row right now, so they've kind of recovered. But
Mhm.
they play Indiana, who is currently in eighth. 2 losses in a row for Indiana, and literally everyone on that roster has been injured. I mean, you have obviously the biggest one, which is Caitlin Clark. The news this week, well, I don't know if it's news, but she was seen doing like non-contact drills with the
Mhm.
team, which I guess is a step above where she was before. Still no timeline for her return, if there will be one in the final games of this season. But she is out with that groin strain that was then an ankle bone bruise. And then you also have Sid Colson, Ari McDonald, Sophie Cunningham, who are all
Mhm.
3 out for the season. And then Chloe Bibby has been in and out with a sore knee as well. And so they have it's hard to say which team has had the worst injury luck
Oh, it's
this
them.
season. Yeah,
It's not hard to say. It's them.
it's
It's
like when it comes to measuring how the injuries have affected your playoff standing, it's them.
it's all one position group is what the crazy thing is to
True.
me.
Yeah, it's all
Like
their guards.
I've seen teams like in like just in general speaking, like not this like this season specifically, or even WNBA specifically. Like I've seen basketball teams have injury problems. I don't know if I've ever seen an entire like guard group just absolutely decimated by
Yeah.
injuries in this way. It's insane.
It's one thing if it's like, okay, you have a guard and then you have a center and then so you can kind of like evenly, but like
Mhm.
when you think about the fact that it's their guard group and then you look at kind of like the market, I guess, of people to sign in as an injury replacement. I guess you like they brought in Odyssey Sims, which is a great signing.
Mhm.
But then like you also if you're looking for someone who's going to boost your playoff perspective, like it's hard because a lot of the players that are now available to be signed are rookies, are people who were, let go of in training camp and stuff like that. And so if you're looking for someone, hey, like let's try and make a playoff push, we need someone to come in and be like our guard until maybe Caitlin Clark comes back. What do you do? And so they, I mean,
I mean, I
understandably,
can
have
tell you what I
fallen.
would do, but I don't know
What
if
would
it
you do?
not make the playoffs. I go get
There
a lottery pick, because
you
you're
go.
telling me my reward for making it through this the season from hell is playing Minnesota in the first round? No thanks.
Yeah,
I'll see you
that's
at the draft lottery. Like
I'll see
like
you at
like,
the
not that I think that they're, like, gonna sit anybody or tank or anything like that, but, like, me personally, if I'm a Fever fan, that's what I'm
yeah.
hoping for.
Alright. So I'm gonna lob you a random, so
Oh,
speak now. Who if you were the Indiana Fever and you get that last lottery spot, who are you drafting
um, well,
that goes with your core?
assuming it would certainly be based on where I land.
Yeah,
Um,
so say you land, like, 4 or 5.
I draft Flau'jae.
Yeah, I was thinking that
I
too. I
draft
was like,
Flau'jae.
"Oh," but
Yeah,
then I was like, "Ooh, Flau'jae on the Indiana."
her running next to Caitlyn down the court and being a secondary ball handler.
But, like, do you remember that game a few years ago where she was the only person who could, like, remotely even stop Caitlyn?
Yeah, it's a great sign if you're able to stop Caitlin Clark. That's a player I would want on my team.
100%, and then you put that 2 together?
Yeah,
Oh, man, that'd
yeah,
be amazing.
yeah,
So I just wa that thought came into my mind because
yeah.
I was thinking, like, okay, if they get, say, like, 4 or 5 on
Mhm,
the draft lottery, who do you have? Flau'jae's right there.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so this game tonight, Seattle versus Indiana, huge implications. I mean, when you think about them being like a half a game away from each other right now, if Indiana wins, they could boost up to maybe 6. Again, I'm not very good at this whole math stuff, but
Mhm,
or, determining and
mhm.
I mean, it's such a waterfall effect right now that it
Yeah, it's a
depends on
lot,
every team.
a lot.
So anyway, potentially could move up to 6. Um, but then, like, Seattle, if you win, you don't go up to 5th, obviously, because you're still 3 games behind, but you start to maybe close that bridge a little
It's a bit of
bit.
a cushion that you're able to kinda build.
Yeah, start to
Mhm.
build the cushion and, like, maybe think about catching up to Phoenix and New York, but not that wouldn't be my
It's not
first thought.
that's not
Yeah. So then the other game tonight is Phoenix, of course,
mhm,
and LA. And this one is big. Like Phoenix wants to win every game they can on the chance that they lose against New York this weekend. Los Angeles is just trying to get into the playoff race. And I
mhm.
mean, they're there. They have, what are they? I have so many tabs open right now. They're at 12 games behind where Indiana's at 11. So, like, you think about the fact if Indiana loses, if LA wins, again, it's such a waterfall effect right now. But this game, I think there's so much pressure on LA to if they want to make that playoff push.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, if you stay alive, to me, if so Indiana has probably I don't know off the top of my head for certain, but they have an incredibly tough schedule. I don't know if it's, like, statistically, like, the toughest schedule remaining,
Yeah, I don't know
but,
for
like
sure.
but it's a very tough schedule, and it's all games against these teams, against Seattle, Golden State, and LA. So, like, if let's hypothetically, like, Indiana won tonight and LA lost, like, there's still, like, room for LA to claw their way back,
Hmm.
but there's very little room for mistakes for any of these teams right now.
Yeah.
I
Um,
mean,
I pulled up
yeah.
Indiana's schedule. So they have Seattle tonight,
Mhm,
LA on Friday, which is a
mhm,
big one. Golden State,
yep,
who has been crushing teams
mhm,
this year, and it's at Golden State, so Valhalla come
yeah.
through. Then at Phoenix, which Alyssa Thomas, sure. Um, then Chicago, which is kind of like a hopefully a dub. Um, and then Washington, and their last game is Minnesota.
Your best chance is that Minnesota's resting players at that point.
Yeah.
Everyone else in that is either to me, is either, like, a young team, like, even, like,
Mhm.
whether it be Washington or Chicago that, like, is still just gonna play this out,
Yep.
and you're still gonna have to contend against that, or teams that are, like, legitimately right next to you in the standings.
Yeah, or like
Like
absolutely gunning for top 4,
yeah,
which
so, like, you are I mean, it's the toughest way all the way through, and you're looking at teams that Seattle is on the rise. Golden State just continues to figure it out and, like, and just win games.
yep.
LA a bit more hit or miss, but, like, when they're on, they're on.
Mhm.
And Phoenix, kind of a better version of that. But, like, the floor for Phoenix is just higher than LA's floor.
Yeah.
You're looking at as an Indiana team that continues to struggle with injuries, that continues to try and figure this stuff out. you're looking at teams that are probably going in the other direction than you are right now, in terms of momentum and things of that nature.
Yeah,
So you are fighting uphill to me, even though they are currently in that 8 seed.
yeah,
I would be. I'm not gonna put it past them because like you still have Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston.
yeah.
So like by no means am I gonna be like, oh, Indiana's not making the playoffs. I'm not going that far with it, but I'd be pretty impressed if they're able to overcome all the injuries and everything and knowing what the schedule looks like for them and be able to make it into that last spot.
Well, look what you made me do. I was
Mm,
curious and decided to pull up the schedule. So we looked at Indiana's schedule for the rest of the season.
mhm,
Wanted to pull up the other teams in that Final Four race. So we have Seattle, Golden State, and Los Angeles. While you were talking, I pulled up all of their schedules for
mhm,
the rest of the season. So let's start with Seattle. They have Indiana
mhm,
tonight, of course. Then they play Minnesota, who they have beat this season,
mhm,
mind you. Then they have Chicago and LA, which again, Chicago we're gonna assume is a dub
mhm.
because it's Chicago right now. LA again is a very important game for standings. And then they end with New York and Golden State.
Said, I mean, realistically, there's not gonna be an easy schedule.
No. But like
At this because unless you were just playing like you were just hoping to play Chicago, Dallas, or Connecticut.
like
Like that. But even then, like those games are still like Connecticut's a tough team right now. Like Chicago
yeah,
with Angel Reese back is a much
it's a
better
tough
team.
team.
Like there's not going to be any easy games, and that's where I look at teams that have been on the rise and have better momentum slash are healthy. And Indiana is not that team.
Yeah, exactly.
And that
I
and that's
mean,
where my doubt really creeps in. It's not like the schedule is the schedule, and it is tough for them, and, like, it's really all the teams directly surrounding them in terms of, like, tiebreakers and stuff like that.
mhm,
But it goes both ways in that sense of the tiebreakers and whatnot, but
mhm,
that's just where I look at the injuries, and that's where I look at the endurance of this team, and I certainly don't think that this Indiana team is gonna give up or anything, that's by any means, but,
yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about the cards being stacked against you the entire season and now it building up and crescendoing into this moment. Nobody to me has it tougher right now than Indiana when it comes to making that playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, now looking at Golden State, they have Washington, Indiana, New York, Dallas, Minnesota, Seattle, Minnesota. And 5 of those are home games, which you have to like they have the biggest maybe home court advantage right
I
now.
I would imagine they have the best, like, friendliest schedule. Both
Yeah,
being at home, some of the teams are
100%.
playing, like, I would they to me, like, if I was to pick an easiest path, which is, like,
Yeah,
in, kinda quotes because, like, is there really an easiest path, you know?
yeah.
But, like, that's a lot of home games down the stretch.
But then LA probably has the toughest out of all of these teams coming here at the end of the playoff positioning.
Mhm.
LA has Phoenix, Indiana, Washington, Seattle, back to back against Atlanta, Dallas, Phoenix, and they end with Vegas. That's rough.
That is pretty tough.
That's
Yeah,
rough.
your best bet the good thing is they don't have many tiebreaker scenario games.
Yeah,
Like where 'cause I believe they hold the tiebreaker over Indiana.
yeah.
I don't recall about Golden State off the top of my head. So, like, you're
Golden
kinda just
State Golden State has the season, the sweep against them.
that's right. Yeah, so really, again, it's really just like, realistically, this battle, because of where other teams have kinda positioned themselves, to me, it's gonna be between Indiana and the Sparks.
Yeah,
Like, that's what I would imagine. I mean, again, it's so tight that, like, if one team just kinda falls off a cliff, then, like, it's wraps. Like, there's literally 0 room for error right
yeah.
now as we get into this final stretch. That's why, to me, this is the most exciting ending to a WNBA season that I've personally been able to cover.
On both sides too, because like, we were talking about the top of the
Mhm,
standings, that's
mhm.
even closer. Like
No, it's yeah, it's actually insane right now to have, like, these 2 tiers that are equally it's given very much like Premier League vibes where it's like everyone's vying for, like, different places in the rankings, like, to earn
yeah,
different, like, things. Like, it's truly going down to, like, the final day. Like, it's awesome. Like,
yeah.
I'm
And I
stoked.
mean, we usually get a situation on the last day where there's like, if this team wins and this team and this team and blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah. But it's gonna be like, I don't think we're gonna know until every single
Yeah,
game,
I don't wanna see a post like that because it's gonna be too many words and it's gonna make my head hurt. So, like, just tell me
literally.
where everyone ends up at the end of the day.
At the
Like,
end, yeah.
when
Whatever
that
the
time
last day
comes.
of the
Yeah, yeah,
season
yeah.
is, Imma be locked
I don't
in.
I don't need the PEMDAS of it, just tell me where people are going, where they're playing, who they're playing, and let me know what time.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, when you think about people who cover the WNBA, there's, like, the people where I would put myself in who, you know, we're writing the stories, we're interviewing the players, we're keeping tabs, and then there are other people who have, like, the different side of the brain where they are getting into, like, the math and the like, not statistics, I think is a little different, but, like, the scenarios and the odds and the this and that, and I'm like,
Just tell me where I need to
"Thank you
be.
for your service. Thank you
Only
for your service."
only numbers I know are the 2 scores by the team names. That's about as far as I go. So, yeah.
Oh, man.
Not a
I
lot more
mean,
bag.
not to, like, hype our own platform or anything, but Her Hoop Stats has definitely gotten me
That's
way
where I
more
go.
into literally,
That's where
first
I go, and I find the people smarter than me.
literally. But do you know what? Okay, so, like, we both follow men's basketball as well in different capacities, but do you know how hard it is to go from having Her Hoop Stats and all of its tools and things to have to, like, search up, and then I go try to search up, like, men's basketball stuff, and I'm like, "What wait a minute.
Yeah, we're spoiled.
Where's all my stuff?"
Our hoop stats does her best.
Exactly. Not to again, this was just we weren't planning on hyping ourselves
But
up
I
by the way,
mean
but I mean, might as well.
hey,
Don't
you know,
don't blame me for that.
there you go.
Uh,
Gotta get one for the road, like,
well,
one for the road.
one for the road. Call it what you want, but here we are. I don't think here we are maybe is one on the next album. I don't know. I haven't looked. This
Wait,
was clearly
next album ones?
no, was saying that I don't know.
Okay, I'm about to say, like, no way, the song isn't even out yet, like, how are you
She did release the track list though, so if I was like that
I
into
know,
it,
but, like, if you're that locked in, that's
no, I'm not that
yeah,
locked in.
okay,
Respect to the people
okay.
who are that locked in.
Yeah, I'm not,
I'm
but,
not.
like, shout out to y'all.
Respect
Yeah,
to you all.
yeah,
Like, do you know if we want to talk about people who do their homework,
Swifties.
is the Taylor Swift people.
Yeah, for sure.
Mad respect on that.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, so yeah, big day, big week in the WNBA. You know, glad we could kind of talk about implications, which will change every day. Which is why you got to come back and listen to this podcast every single day. Look what I did there.
Heck of a
Look what
transition.
you made me do. But anyway, so we're gonna call it at that because I've run out of Taylor Swift.
Yeah, you started singing. Once we've gotten to the singing portion of the podcast, it's time to go.
Yeah, no more Pig Pony Club over here.
Time to go.
Yeah, time to go. Thank you so much for watching the Her Hoop Stats podcast. Always fun to be joined by Tyler DeLuca, of course. Shout out Jamie, we miss you. We tried to get the crew together a few weeks ago, and I think it was you, Tyler, that couldn't do it.
On the All-Star weekend. And
oh wow, rude.
How rude of me, I know.
We will get one in though before the season ends. I'm just calling it now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We're happy with it.
That sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching the Her Hoop Stats podcast. I'm Chelsea Late. I just said that's Tyler DeLuca. Taylor Swift got engaged today, which if you haven't heard,
Serena is back on the WNBA.
Yeah, Serena is back. We're just
go.
breaking all the news for people. Like,
Let's go.
the people who are hearing this news first from us, those are real people.
That's hilarious.
Make sure you're
so
subscribed.
Sorry. That's how you found out that Taylor Swift got engaged.
These
that's
two
really,
ding dogs right here.
I'm really sorry if that's how you found out.
Oh man. All right. Well, we're going to end it here. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, follow us on social media for all of this chaos and nonsense. We appreciate you all tuning in this season. And we'll see you tomorrow for another episode of the Her Hoop Stats podcast.